My life has changed tremendously since I've been a born again Christian. I have the freedom and liberty that I didn't have before. I have peace. I have joy. I'm not alone, as whereas before Christ came into my life, I felt alone, depressed, and oppressed. And since Jesus Christ has come into my life, I feel whole. I didn't know my self-worth, but God showed me who I was through him. My sister was murdered last year by her husband. That was a big hit for me and my family. And God will just give you peace. He gave us peace through it. I was able to forgive my brother-in-law. I love him. I pray for him daily. And that was the main thing. It's like my relationship with God got even stronger. You know, it got even stronger. But I'll tell anybody, God will put that grace. That's it, grace. He will give you the grace you need to go through whatever you have to go through. Like he said, his grace is sufficient. And he will give you that grace that go through any situation that you have in your life. When something bad happened to you, you can go back to the word. God will bring all things back to your remembrance. And when that happened, I knew immediately, I'm like, that's not him that did that. I know we wrestle not against flesh and blood. That's what came to me. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. So I knew, it wasn't him. It was the spirit. And so that's the scripture that came to me when it happened. I'm like, you know what? He didn't do this. He did it physically, but it was the spirit. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. So the word, I tell anybody, that's what got me through it. And that grace and mercy and the love of God that's in me, that he shed in me. That's how I was able to forgive him, because I know all of us, he may have killed somebody, you may have did this, but all of it is the same. If God can forgive me, he can forgive anybody. And so I can too. Well, I was raised in church. My mama kept us in church 5 days a week. We was in church every day. So I was raised in church. My mama, y'all going to church. So we went to church every day. But I didn't, I like, Mom, it ain't doing nothing. I knew the religious spirit. I'm like, Mom, this ain't doing nothing. So we was raised in church. And I felt something wrong then. I know she was doing the right thing, but like the religious spirit, like I said, you get beat up when you go to church. But I was in church before I came here. I was in another church. But when I left there, I was at the bootleg house or something. It wasn't penetrating. I wasn't getting it. I was just going to make me feel better, to make me feel like, well, I went to church today, like I was getting brownie points just for going to church, but I wasn't changing. I would still leave and go hook up with such and such or go to the bootleg house. I was not changing. The word, it wasn't doing nothing for me. So, but like I said, when I found the ministry, I'm like, okay, I've got an understanding of what salvation is, righteousness. I finally got an understanding of everything. And I'm still getting understanding, but I wasn't getting nothing. Never heard that taught until I came here. The righteousness of God. I didn't know nothing about that. Because like I said, every time you go to church, people talk about what you're doing. You need to quit drinking. You need to quit smoking. You need to quit having sex. How? How am I going to quit doing that when I don't know the truth? So I've never heard anyone teach on the righteousness of God, the law, or, my worth. I learned that here. I learned that when I came here, and it just took me on a different path.
Wow, so
Condemnation. I didn't know nothing about none of that. I would say the main thing is finding a word-based church. Getting that true word and getting the truth about who you are. That's the first thing. Because without the word, you really don't know what salvation is. But if you get up under that right ministry, somebody that's teaching you the truth, and not just leaving parts of the Bible out, that's the part of healing. That's the process to your healing. That's the first step to healing, is getting in a word-based church. That's what helped me, because I was getting this from this ministry and getting this from this ministry, and then I didn't know who I was. You go to church, and you feel worse coming out than you went in, because people beat you up for stuff you don't even know. You don't know what's wrong with you, but people beat you up, for something that you don't even have control of. So I would say the first thing is finding a word-based ministry. That has blessed my life. That's what led me to Jesus Christ. Just being up under that right teaching that can teach you your worth, your value, who you are, what God says about you. Just knowing the love that God has for you. That's the number one thing. Knowing the love of Jesus Christ. And like I said, I had went to so many different ministries and sat here, sat there, and I would feel worse when I left. I would feel so beat up, for stuff I may have, was doing. I felt beat up. I just felt lost. But when I started going to True Agape Ministries, I was getting the word, and God delivered me there. And from then on, God just has been, blessing my life.